Well, about 50 dikgosi from different parts of the northwestern province and several others from neighboring Botswana are expected to attend the funeral service of Kgosi Goitseone Sandylands Motseoakhumo in his home village of Makgobistad near Mahikeng. Kgosi Motseoakhumo passed away earlier this week, and details of his passing are still unclear. The 48-year-old was the leader of the Barolong Boora Ratlou Makgobi in Makgobistad. Now, our reporter Refiloe Seboko is joining us live now. Refiloe, earlier we of course heard the recounting of the commitment that the Kgosi had towards the development of his community. What else are we expecting to learn as the funeral service gets underway?
Well, the funeral service is underway in Kgosi, and from what we are hearing from different speakers that are taking the podium, he was also a very outspoken person, talking about, the challenges that as the house of the Kgosi are having challenges to also work together with the provincial government, and that's something that he has always been outspoken about. We have heard a friend, Mukhakuludi Masibi, who is also Kgosi Boora Masibi, who was speaking as a friend and saying that they had been working together with Kgosi Motseoakhumo. We've also had a representative from the family who was speaking about him and not being well for quite some time. In fact, just as he was about to be taken to the hospital, and that's when he actually passed away. But let me welcome one of the speakers who will be taking the podium, Kgosi Goitseone, who is from the National House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders. Kgosi, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Kgosi Motseoakhumo, tirisano mmogo ya lona, working together, umwitsi yang le khona le tirisana mmogo yang in actually, looking into issues tsa magosi and working for baagi as a whole.
Morning, not such a good morning on our side. Kgosi Motseoakhumo, he's one of the veterans, much as he's young, but he's been here in the throne since 1996. As we've been coming into the institution, he's one of those people who have mentored us, taught us the ropes and so forth. Very outspoken person, as you had mentioned earlier. He was highly critical, of the service delivery in our communities, but also the support to the institution of the traditional leadership. He was very critical towards government to say, as you commit to do certain things, you need to follow up to that commitment and live up to it.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the things that he had, done, and you can notice his contribution, especially to traditional areas like Makgobistad?
He has done quite a lot. If you look at the back there's a community hall that he had established, and there's also, if you walk around the village, they've got a pen where they sell their livestock there. As you know, in rural communities, really, we rely on our livestock. So he did that. There are schools around the community, there are community halls. He's done a lot of things for his community throughout the 21 years that he's been on the throne.
And do you see a gap now that he has passed on in terms of the legacy also that he leaves behind?
Of course, it's a huge gap, because firstly, the royal family has to sit, and in terms of the custom, look at who's the rightful heir to him. We have to look at, how is he going to settle in, what is he going to do. Hopefully there will not be a lot of family dispute as it's now a norm in our institution. Hopefully they can do it in a dignified manner. So there's going to be a big gap. Also, there's uncertainty in the community to say, community problems don't end. Tomorrow, Monday, people would need to Kgosi. Where would they go? Because the family still needs to sit down and discuss who's to take over. So there's a huge gap.
And how important is it that, the Kgosi, local Kgosi Makgobistad, and also community to keep on working together with those that will be left behind, to take the baton, and that one who will be identified to step on his shoes?
It's very important that the community together with the royal family does that, because if they don't do that, they're going to mess up their own things, Once they don't agree on certain issues, then you'll start seeing disruptions. You'll start seeing, as the norm of communities, some would start trying to ban, the little that them and Kgosi has done. So it's important that the royal family and the community, they hold their hands together and look at how do we move forward successfully and as soon as possible. More importantly, the transition must happen as soon as possible so that life can move on, because at the end of the day, much as Kgosi is now asleep, life needs to go on. So the community must pick themselves up, much as it's painful, so that they can move on with their lives. Look forward to a new chapter.
Thank you so much for your time. Well, what's happening right now in Ntokozo is the introduction of other Kgosis, like you said, that rather 50 Kgosis from the Northwest Province and some from the neighboring country, Botswana, are attending this funeral. We're also expecting to see Kgosi Maote, who is a chairperson of House of Traditional Leaders in the Northwest Province, will be also making a speech just earlier. And also we are going to see, amongst others, who are going to give a speech. Like I said, that the mayor of the Ngaka-Modiri-Molema district municipality, Khumalo Molefe, is attending, is amongst those that are attending this funeral. And he's also expected to make a speech. And just also, as Kgosi Siatlolo was saying, that Kgosi Motseoakhumo was very outspoken and also critical of how government is not coming forth on some occasions in working with House of Traditional Leaders to come up with solutions to challenges that residents of rural areas and Makgobistad in this particular are faced with. And I think that's what we will hear from Khumalo Molefe, who's the mayor of Ngaka-Modiri-Molema, on how they will be continuing to making sure and continue forward with that which Kgosi was working, especially in the development of Makgobistad and the area and the resident of Makgobistad.
Well, thanks, Refiloe. We will, of course, continue to monitor developments outside of Makgobistad for much of the morning and afternoon.